Crystal Palace 0-0 Man City live, Gabriel Jesus off with injury, Sergio Aguero hits post. Crystal Palace vs Man City live, Express Sport brings you the latest goals, updates and highlights from Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 0-0 Manchester City height, well, it's still goalless at Selhurst Park and Crystal Palace are good value for it. Pep Guardiola does not look impressed on the sidelines, head-in-hand scenario for the Spanish tactician. 49, stupid boy. Zaha, who's been in Fosu pocket all afternoon, kicks the ball away in frustration and collects a booking. 47, De Bruyne creeps his way to the byline and Aguero sends his cut back wide from 10 yards out. 6 minutes at a time. 45, not everything is rosy in the Manchester City garden. KDB sends a quality ball forward but Zaha didn't bother running after it. The Belgian throws his arms up in the air in anger, Zaha does the same. 44. There's almost a standing operation for Timothy Fosu, who's currently having Leroy Sané on toast. The Manchester United loanee hasn't been beaten once down that left flank. 42, in true Chris Cumbras style, I completely missed the moment Kyle Walker was booked. 39, you know things are bad when Kevin De Bruyne pings a forward pass straight out of play. He's a touch off the pace today, as are Silva, Zaha and Gundogan. 36, Manchester City have got a game on their hands here. Their passing isn't as crisp and sharp as usual and Crystal Palace are closing them down all over the park. 33, Kaba finally gets his set-piece delivery on the money and bent Krise's highest to nod wide. Belief is growing inside Selhurst Park, can they stop City? 30, woodwork. Sergio Aguero hits the post with a deflected shot. Instant impact from the Argentine. 27, a De Bruyne corner rebounds off Tompkins' foot and Hennessy collects. 24, injuries all over the place today. Jesus has gone down for City, and he's limping back to the changing room in tears. Sergio Aguero replaces him. Quite worrying to see a player in so much distress. Looks like a knee injury. Hopefully it's not serious. 21, Leroy Sané hits the free kick into the wall. The ball is played back and Wayne Hennessy gathers comfortably. 18, to add insult to injury, Dan conceded a dangerous free kick when injuring himself. He's stretchered off to warm applause and Martin Kelly replaces him. Fingers crossed it's not as bad as it looks. 16, Scott Dan is down, and looks in serious pain. He clattered into Kevin De Bruyne just outside. The medical staff are on and the stretcher is out. 13, Gabriel Jesus goes down clutching his groin after slipping and doing the splits. Van Aanholt sends a half-volley wide, while Zaha misses the opportunity to cross from the byline. Exciting action at both ends. Crystal Palace are not here to make up the numbers. 10, Roy Hodgson has a face like thunder as Crystal Palace play a corner short and Kaba slaps it miles over the bar. Just stick it in the box. Close? Pedersen and Mangala have a moment of madness with the pair colliding inside the box. Bent pounces on the loose ball but strikes it straight at the centre back. 7, quite the sloppy start from Leroy Sane, who's given the ball away numerous times on the left flank. Zaha makes a rare break forward but Bank isn't on the same wavelength and Ederson collects. 4, commentators curse. The second they say that Crystal Palace are doing well, Bernardo Silva shoots inside the box and it goes wide. 3, never seen a piggyback last that long on a football field. Kyle Walker just carried Wilfried Zaha on his back for about 3 meters before winning the free kick. Nice start from the Eagles, who haven't allowed Manchester City to settle. Crystal Palace 0-0 Manchester City 1, and we're off. Pep masterclass or Hodgson in class? Sorry, I don't know what I meant by that. Anyway, the match has started. 2-minute warning 11:58, we're almost underway folks. Selhurst Park is absolutely bouncing. Often that happens early on a Sunday. Are people preparing for a heavy New Year's Eve? Crystal Palace vs Manchester City 11:55, quick reminder of today's lineups. Crystal Palace 11, Hennessy, Fosu-Mensah, Tompkins, Dan, Riedewald, Van Aanholt, Keba, Milivojevic, Townsend, Zaha, Bank. Subs, Speroni, Chung-Yong, Suaire, Kai, Delaney, Kelly, Puncham. Manchester City 11, Ederson, Walker, Danilo, Gundogan, Mangala, De Bruyne, Sane, Bernardo, Fernandinho, Otamendi, Jesus. Subs, Bravo, Stones, Sterling, Aguero, Adarabioyo, Zinchenko, Tour. Superman. 11:50, Pep Guardiola has hailed defender Nicolas Otamendi as Manchester City's Superman. Not a lot of people would have expected that last season. The Argentinian, who is arguably City's most improved player, has proved a key component of the attacking build-up and has also weighed in with 5 goals in all competitions. Guardiola said, "We have a Superman in the team, as Nico Otamendi helped us absolutely. Without Nico, it would not be possible, what we have done." Everyone speaks about players such as Raheem Sterling, like David Silva, like Kevin De Bruyne, like Sergio Aguero, and they deserve it, but if I would like to point to a player who deserves full respect for what they have done until now, it's Nico. Nico has been amazing. Twitter roundup Michael, having seen Crystal Palace against Arsenal, I think they could give City a run for their money. Then again, the Pep Guardiola juggernaut could flatten them. Hedging my bets Tommy, come on Palace, do the impossible. If anyone would, we would. Eagles. Tony, interesting lineup today for Crystal Palace. Looks like Croy is resting players and possibly sacrificing points against the Invincible to allow for a better chance against Southampton in only 2 days' time. Zaha to City? 11:40, not in January according to Crystal Palace manager Roy Hodgson. Manchester City have been linked with a move for Zaha as an alternative to Alexis Sanchez, but Hodgson says he's been assured that it won't happen during the winter window. "I have assurances from the club owners and chairman, Steve Parish, that is not going to happen," Hodgson explained. "We want to keep all the players we have got and ideally want to add to the squad in the January transfer window to strengthen even more. We are not too concerned about any rumors which might circulate because he is going nowhere. Another record, and 11:35, Manchester City have won their last 2 games against Crystal Palace by a 5-0 scoreline. Only once in top-flight history has a team won 3 consecutive league games against an opponent by a 5+ goal margin. Manchester City vs Derby between February 1937 and January 1938. No thanks. 11:30, whatever Wilfried Zaha is drinking, I do not want some. That's the face I pulled the first time I tried whiskey. Twitter roundup. Michael, I just want one Gabriel Jesus goal today please for my FPL team. That's not asking much surely, although I'll take 4. 1. How is Wayne Hennessy back in the team? Ugh. Jero Raiduwald lives. Looks like CDA maybe. Assume Ruben Loftus-Cheek is injured. Tom, Liverpool away will be Man City's toughest challenge this season. Last time we beat them at their place was 2003. If we beat them I can't see us losing this season. Not bothered. 11:20, apologies for the incredibly outdated reference. But unfortunately it sprang to mind when Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola claimed the record doesn't matter. As previously mentioned, a win against Crystal Palace today would be their 19th Premier League win in a row, matching the all-time record victory sequence in any of the top 5 European leagues. Always here, you talk about the numbers and the records, but that's just a consequence of what we're doing on the pitch, Guardiola said. The record's not what counts. What counts is what we have to do against Crystal Palace and their 4 amazing strikers. Sooner or later, we are going to drop points and we have to see how we react in that moment. Team news, Manchester City 11:10, 3 changes for Pep Guardiola today. Vincent Kompany is out with a minor calf strain while Sergio Aguero and Raheem Sterling dropped to the bench. In come Ilya Quimangala, Leroy Sane and Gabriel Jesus. Fabian Delph and David Silva are all also absent from City's squad, but there's a return for John Stones. The England centre-back could play for the first time since damaging his hamstring against Leicester last month. Team news, Crystal Palace 11:05, Crystal Palace manager Roy Hodgson has made 4 changes for today's clash. Wayne Hennessy replaces Julian Speroni between the sticks. Elsewhere Martin Kelly, Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Jeffrey Schlupp are replaced by Timothy Fosu-Mensah, Jero Raiduwald and Patrick Van Aanholt. Crystal Palace vs Manchester City 11 o'clock, here are the lineups for today's game. As you can see from the picture above, Leroy Sane loves a freezing cold morning in South London and Crystal Palace 11, Hennessy, Fosu-Mensah, Tompkins, Dan, Raiduwald, Van Aanholt, Kiba, Milivojevic, Townsend, Zaha, Bank. Subs, Speroni, Chung-Yong, Suaire, Kai, Delaney, Kelly, Puncham. Manchester City 11, Ederson, Walker, Danilo, Gundogan, Mangala, De Bruyne, Sane, Bernardo, Firmino, Otamendi, Jesus. Subs, Bravo, Stones, Sterling, Aguero, Adarabioyo, Zinchenko, Tour. Have your say. 10:58, if you want to vent your frustrations, or discuss any issues in the world of football, within reason, then get in touch. You can either comment at the bottom of the page or contact me via Twitter using the hashtag #ExpressSport. Morning 10:55, welcome to our live coverage of the Premier League. We're back at Selhurst Park for the second time in 4 days as Crystal Palace entertained runway leaders Manchester City. I use the term entertain loosely because I'd hazard a guess that Pep Guardiola's side will be doing most of the entertaining, and anyway, City could extend their lead at the top of the table to 16 points with a victory today. It would be their 19th consecutive league victory and equal the record set by Bayern Munich when Pep was the Germans' manager. And Crystal Palace vs Manchester City. Preview: Crystal Palace's Yohan Kaba is a doubt after suffering a knock in the 3-2 defeat by Arsenal. Should the midfielder not be past fit to start, he is expected to be replaced by James McArthur, who took his place as a substitute during Thursday's fixture. Manchester City will check on defenders Vincent Kompany, Fabian Delph and John Stones. Kompany's calf injury is not as bad as feared, while left-back Delph could return after a minor muscle problem. Centre-back Stones is now back in training after 11 games out with a hamstring injury. The availability of playmaker David Silva, who has missed 3 of the last 4 games for personal reasons, is unclear. Last season, Man City 5 Crystal Palace 0, Crystal Palace won Man City 2 last 5 league matches, Crystal Palace DWWDL, Man City WWWW. Top scorers: James McArthur, Crystal Palace, 4, Wilfried Zaha, Crystal Palace, 4, Bukayo Saka, Crystal Palace, 4, Raheem Sterling, Man City, 17.